Welcome to the Sacred Love School in Seville and Amsterdam. We are filming from our school and residence in Seville. And today we have a great honor. But first, I would like to introduce myself and my wife. That she's the one sharing this school with me. My name is Enrique Valenzuela. I'm a doctor. And Annette, well, she will introduce herself. I'm a psychotherapist. I live in Amsterdam, but also I am a goddess. It's a very special day because today we have the honor to have visiting us somebody that's very important in our lives, because she was the one who introduced us some time ago. It was in one of those seminars where I was invited to participate as a collaborator, and I took the good decision to assist to that seminar, and there I found her. Since then, we have lived a very intense relationship along the years, and in a way has created this school in Seville and Amsterdam. Margot Anand, for me, is very difficult to describe her in a few words, because she's the one who introduced in Occident the Tantra and the sacred love, with giving some spiritual magnitude to the love relationships. So it's very difficult to define what she has done, because her work is immense. She has written so many books, some of them who are translated in Spanish, some of them that I have also read, and she has also made a great job in the United States, in California, and all over the world, also in Europe. Throughout my seeking and searching, somebody advised me to go to the school, and since then, so long ago that we don't even remember when it was, maybe 20-something years ago. And since that seminar, I have attended so many others, always welcome to collaborate with them. And in one of those seminars, I was so happy to know who's my wife in these days, and we still collaborate together in the school and all our projects. But let's hear Margot Anand, because she's the one who has to talk, and she's a great example for us and for everybody. Thanks for being here with us, sharing this moment, and for being here in Seville. Our house is open. The doors are open to you and to all your friends. Thanks so much.
So, Margot, do you feel like talking a little more?
Yes.
Yes. So I would like to talk about right now about we are in Spain, and I know you have given workshops in Spain a long time ago. So it would be nice if you could comment a little bit on how you feel about Spain.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yes, this is a very important topic since I'm in Seville.
Yes.
So I have to say that I am completely surprised and delighted to see this incredible joining between the old and the new, which is what I'm experiencing here in this visit to the two of you, Enrique and Annette. And today we went to visit the cathedral, and I was really split, because on the one hand I felt the incredible beauty and devotion to the God, and I am very touched by this, and I'm a great lover of the Christ, of Jesus. And on the other hand, I was so sad and so touched by the fact that it is because of the plundering and the killing of so many indigenous people on the planet by the Spanish conquistadores, and the bringing back of all their belongings and of all their gold and of all their precious wood and spices in ways that were not always very honorable and not always very respectful. And it is because of that that this incredible cathedral could be built that there could be an altar and a triptych that was using, I don't know what, 10 or 100 kilos of gold, and you know. So, yeah, that was what I experienced this morning. You know, a real mixture. And I also was reminded that Spain holds a key. And Spain is waking up. And you're a part of this awakening, of this new consciousness, of this understanding that there can be a spirituality where the feminine is not put aside. That there can be a spirituality where the feminine can experience immaculate conception without necessarily making sex taboo. Because sex actually is not a taboo. Sex is at the root of life.
Exactly.
If there wasn't sex, there wouldn't be you, there wouldn't be me, there wouldn't be the birds, there wouldn't be the animals, there basically wouldn't be the planet. So, to say that sex is taboo, and to promise someone a life divine, a heaven beyond this earth, this life, is crazy. It is destructive, it is what is destroying nature, and it is time to put an end to this wrong belief. So, for me, the root of the Tantric teaching says that you, me, us, the planet, Mother Earth, are already divine in themselves, in their own nature, as they are. Okay? There is no need to become an ascetic monk that lives in a cave. There is no need to renounce your sexuality. There is no need to believe in original sin. I mean, Christ, you know, what is this? Original sin? That is insane, you know. And if you research the root of where this belief comes from, you will find very interesting explanations. So anyway, it is now time to adjust, and Spain is doing that. Spain is beginning to wake up to the possibility of having a joyful, sensual, sexual, life-affirming, sex-affirming life. And that's what I'm experiencing here in Seville, the joining between the ancient and the new.
Wow. Yeah.
So that's what I have to say about it.
And well, yeah, you talk about sacred sexuality, that our sexuality, it's our root, it's where we'll come from, and that's divine. And the divine resides within ourselves. It's not something without.
Yeah.
It resides in us, so the power is in us. And because within our sexuality, a great power
Yes.
lies, and
Yeah.
it's just there for us to discover.
Right.
There are a couple of more things around sexuality that people here are in need to hear your comments. Masturbation, for instance, enjoy sex with yourself is considered here not always as normal and natural as what should be.
Well, in my book here, The Art of Sexual Ecstasy, I teach the importance of first loving yourself and understanding how you function sexually before you expect your partner to give to you what you cannot give to yourself. Okay? So, self-pleasuring, the word masturbation is not a good word. First of all, we have to replace the words in our vocabulary which are associating our mind with wrong connections, with wrong associations. Okay? So we associate masturbation with all the forbidden, and the mother coming in the room, and the guys, the little boys doing it, or all this stuff. But self-pleasuring is the word that I prefer. So, self-pleasuring is a very important practice, and in my estimation, everybody should do it. And why? Because self-pleasuring elicits an engorgement of your sexual organs, an arousal of your desire and of your energy, and this is how you can A, learn as a man to last longer, which is very important. Then B, learn how to channel as a man and a woman the energy through your centers so that you can study how to transform the nature of your orgasmic power. And many such important practices rely and are based on the art of self-pleasuring. So for me, this is very important. And once you know how, all the sexologists, the top sexologists in America, tell people who come to see them and who complain about premature ejaculation, for instance, and many other sexual problems, they say, go home, do self-pleasuring, and when you can go 6 times in half an hour, stopping just before the point of no return, just before the point of no return, you win. You know, then you are the master of your situation. Yeah, and you become a great tantric lover.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's worth it.
It definitely is. But the whole idea is that you do it for pleasure, for your own pleasure.
Yes.
And that you have an independent sexuality. You don't do it for procreation. You don't do it to please somebody else. But you make your own excitement. You make your own pleasure.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly the point. And it's important to honor this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And well, about homosexuality, for instance, women loving women, men loving men.
Well, look, any good relationship is based on the following. The balance between yin, the receptive aspect of your nature, and yang, the active emissive aspect of your nature. So, if in a homosexual couple or gay couple, men or women, gay, if the two partners are waiting in a yin attitude for the other to take the initiative, nothing happens. No spark, no juice, nothing, no excitement. And if the two partners, the two women, the two men, or the hetero couple are waiting for the, are not waiting, are both knowing that they know what they want and they want to do it the way they want, and they're both saying that at the same time and doing that at the same time, two yang clash. Okay? It doesn't work. So the key to having a good relationship regardless is that you balance the yin and the yang. And there is no taboo whatsoever as far as gayness is concerned. I have myself been in 3 relationships with women in my life, and I have delighted in remembering that not only 50% of the world population is at the root of my orgasmic power or potential, but the other 50%, the female 50%, is also potential lover and potential source of pleasure and joy and love. So why limit yourself? You know, there's nothing wrong, nothing bad in making love in front, in making love behind, in making love on top, in making love on the bottom. This is all old-fashioned. Time to change this.
Sure, sure. Well said. And some people also have asked about, what about sex when you're married, when you're in a couple? How about free sex or having sex with other people outside the couple?
Well, it seems to me from my experience working around the world that we have periods in our lives, okay? The first period, when we are adolescent, when we are going to university, is a period where it is good to explore. It is good to have many lovers because through this you learn about yourself. So it is good to fill your cups with many different experiences. Then in the second phase, when you are getting married and you want to create a family, it is good to be honoring the monogamous, committed relationship so your children can have a stable family life. And in the next phase, when your children are more or less grown, it is good again to be more free, more open, and some people advocate what they call polyamorous relationships. I have to admit that I have observed that in the field of Tantra, many people are in this situation. Yeah, I mean, the good thing about that is that you get to deal with jealousy, you get to deal with, you know, the feeling of not needing to have exclusivity and not being addicted to, you know, having your script that will be just like you want it so that you will be happy. And if there's any other script, like your partner's script or the other woman's script, then you are crazy, you're jealous, you're freaking out, you're throwing your partner out of the window and all these things. Unnecessary, boring, and using a lot of energy. You know, so I think detachment is the spiritual value which is at the key to all this. It's the foundation to all this. And yeah, I mean, I'm for freedom, whatever form it takes.
Yeah, of course. Freedom should be at the basis of any kind of relationship, I believe. And you can interpret freedom in many ways.
True.
But when it's based on fear, there's no freedom. And when there is fear, in my opinion, there cannot be love.
That is true. That is true, because fear, resentment, and frustration are three emotions that cut off our desire and prevent us from flowing. That's why it's very important to have emotional honesty, to be able to tell each other what's going on, and to not judge the other if they tell you something you don't like to hear.
Yeah.
And that's why in my courses, in my training in Sky Dancing Tantra, we have special moments for this. And we start by creating a sacred space. And the sacred space is that we close off the phone, we close off the fax, we close off the bell and the door, the children go to grandmother, and we are alone and quiet. And we make a commitment that we are going to be fully present, 100% present to our partner and to ourselves. And that is how it begins, to be able to tell you truth for the purpose of healing your relationship.
I think that's a very important one, this total honesty, and being dedicated to that all the time. Then you can get to live in a sacred, what I call a sacred relationship, which can be quite transformative.
Yeah, very true, very true. But, you know, telling you truth is courageous. I mean, if a woman comes to her man and says, "Darling, I have to tell you finally that I have been faking it for the last 10 years, well, you know, if they don't really love each other, he's going to say, "What? You have betrayed me, you have been false, I'm out of here, bye." But if they love each other, then they say, "Oh, well, darling, let's improve our performance, let's grow, let's learn how we can give each other better pleasure," you know, and then they grow to the next level.
Yeah.
So truth is erotic, but truth requires courage.
Yeah. And now we have come to talk about relationship, about honesty, improving relationships so that they are worth living. Not based on fear, but on honesty.
Right.
There are many people who are longing for
A way in.
a way in, also in their sexuality. Could you give them, like, say, 3 advices? Where to start, what to do?
Yeah, well, I would say start in a very concrete way. Okay? Bring more humor into your love life. And this is how you do it. Give a name to this part of your body, okay? Which is the part of your sexual organs. Give a name, and so my name is Yoni, which means cosmic matrix. And the name that we love to give to the Vajra, which is the male genital organ, is Vajra, which is thunderbolt in Tibetan language. Thunderbolt meaning the scepter of power, the scepter of life, of light, sorry. So Vajra and Yoni have a name. Now Vajra and Yoni have a story to tell. They need a voice. So when you come to the bedroom at the end of the day, you can ask your partner, well, how does Vajra feel this evening? Does Vajra need anything? And Vajra says, well, Vajra's a little tired, but maybe a few caresses would help. And then the man can ask, and how does Yoni feel today? Does she need anything? And so on and so forth. So you can have a dialogue between your sexual self, okay? And that brings humor. The charge of, you know, desire not being shared is kind of out. And it's a good way to begin, you know? And that's my first advice. My second advice is learn more about how you function sexually, what you need, and how to turn each other on. There is a chapter in my book about creating a sacred space and about the steps of intimacy, how to have a sensory awakening ritual. Blindfold your partner and touch their lips with a strawberry and chocolate and let them smell you with all sorts of good smells. Have fun sharing a ritual. And the third advice I would have is come to Sky Dancing Tantra and explore yourselves, your relationship, your sexuality in one of the many schools that we have, and look for these schools on www.margotanand.com. And because you come together the way Enrique and Annette did, you are in a neutral territory because you don't have to teach each other what you know. But you have an outside teacher who is giving you the knowledge and giving you the practices that you can do. So then you're there to have an educational, sensual holiday. What better thing could you do with your life? That's where it begins. That's where you can bring intelligence, sexuality, and spirituality together with an outside teacher that is a good, valuable teacher that you respect and with whom you can have fun.
Yeah, that's a wonderful way of looking at it. Going to school to learn about expanded sex, how you want to call it, sacred sexuality, for a long and lusty sexual life together. We go to school so many years.
Right.
To university, and we train our brains, and we...
Right.
But where we come from, our basis, we ignore, we neglect.
We totally neglect because of the influence of the church.
Yes.
And may I say something about that?
Please.
So, for me, one of the things that is strong here in Spain and makes things quite difficult is that the church has realized very early that it needed to channel the power of freedom that is included in the ecstatic experience. Because the moment that a person becomes ecstatic, they become free. They become a free thinker. They don't want to behave themselves along the track that the government or that, you know, the society is laying down for them. But they want to be creative and they want to decide themselves about their lives and how they're going to lead their life and their love life included. But they learn also that they have to swim against the anti-ecstatic current, which is very strong in our society and which is, in my estimation, very strongly protected by the church. So the church discovered very early on that in order to harness, to control, to direct, to channel the basic human instinct for joy, for love, for procreation, it had to introduce guilt, it has to introduce shame, and it had to introduce dependency. Dependency on an interpreter, on a middle man, not even a middle woman, a middle man that was going to be the only one that could bring you in touch with the divine. And because you had an original sin, because you were born as a sinner, you had to go to the priest and you had to tell the priest about all these bad sins that you had. So, and you could not have any sex outside of procreation, and you could not use a condom for protecting yourself from catching AIDS from someone, and. So, by giving us this inheritance of having Adam and Eve chased out of paradise because Eve took the apple of self-awareness from the snake, the apple of self-knowledge from the snake, and passed it on to Adam to tell him, let's become aware, let's become conscious of who we are in our nakedness, who we are as lovers, who we are in our sexual, sensual life. Let's become conscious of that. But no, according to the church, the only one who could be conscious of that was God. Yahweh, high in heaven and in paradise. And so they were thrown out in order to explore what it was to be human through the pain of having to be giving birth in a tortured kind of situation. So I have rewritten the myth of Adam and Eve as a blueprint for failure, the way it was passed on to us down from the church. I have rewritten it in one of my books as a tantric ritual where God comes and helps Adam and Eve to be blissful. And it's in my book called The Art of Everyday Ecstasy. So anyway, I would say the church is wonderful to teach us about devotion to Christ, but the religion has to be interpreted in a way that is not life negative. That's what I would say.
Okay. Let's have a break again, and then we can come back and talk some more about the new era.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Well, thank you too.